Temporal Forces is now here, and a lot of people have been saying that the pull rates of this set are absolutely brutal. Now, we've opened about 2 to 3 booster boxes already, and yeah, it has been pretty tough. I don't believe we've even pulled a single special illustration rare, which is really unlikely. Compared to the rest of the Scarlet and Violet era, pull rates have been pretty decent. Paldea Evolved was quite tricky, and Paradox Rift was as well, but this seems to be a lot tougher. How tough, though? We're going to find out today. Right, guys, Temporal Forces pull rates is the brand new set. I'm enjoying this set. I know a bunch of other people are enjoying this set as well, but it is tough. It has been super tough to get the big mega hits in this set. Now, you do get a decent amount of pulls per booster box. You know, you tend to get between that 11 and 13 hits on average, which is a solid, decent amount, following suit of all the other Scarlet and Violet era sets, so nothing unusual there. But to get the big heavy hitters, well, we have the pull rate data today. We're going to compare it to some other sets in the Scarlet and Violet era and in Sword and Shield. Let's get into it. Okay, Temporal Forces pull rates. Let's see how good these pull rates are. So as you can see here, right, let's take a look. So hyper rare gold cards, 1 in every 139 packs. That's pretty tough. We're looking at what, maybe, what's that, 5 booster boxes? That's just pretty insane. And then to get a specific one, you're looking at 1 in 836, right? So special illustration rares, if you want to get those cool looking Gengar, or you want to get, like, you know, the Gouging Fire and things like that, we're looking at 1 in 86. So yeah, you're looking at about 3 boxes, 2.5 boxes. I mean, we haven't pulled one yet. And then specific one, you're looking at 1 in 855. I believe that is the toughest so far on the Scarlet and Violet era, but we'll have a look, we'll find out. Normal illustration rares, 1 in 13, so on average you get 2 to 3 a box. And then a specific one is 1 in 285. Then we're looking at ultra rares, so these are like the full arts or full art trainers. We're looking at 1 in 15, so an average of 2 per box. Then you look at a specific one, 1 in 270. And then the A-Spec cards, which is returning in this set, new ones, you look at 1 in 20. Some people have been saying they get on average about 2 a box, which is actually what we've been getting as well. From like the first 2-3 boxes, we get on average 2 per box. So that's about right. And then a specific one is 1 in 140. And there's a 20% hit chance of getting at least one of these rarities. 20%. That is not very good at all. The fact that I managed to get in between 11 and 13 hits per box is actually pretty good, because at 20%, it is definitely not the case. For a box, you're looking around about 9. That ain't good. You know, 9 hits on average. I've been quite lucky between 11 and 30. Now, this was out of 8,000 Temporal Forces packs, or over 8,000 Temporal Forces packs. So it is tough. We can't deny that. This is a super tough set to get the specific cards you want, and just volume as well, which is actually quite interesting. Now, let's compare it to some of the other sets in the Scarlet and Violet era. So we have here Paradox Rift, which a lot of people said Paradox Rift was quite tough, and it was quite tough to get those specific hits that we wanted. All right, let's compare it. So hyper rare, 1 in every 82 packs compared to 1 in 139. So Temporal Forces hard to get these gold cards. Special illustration rare, 1 in 47 packs in Paradox Rift, 1 in every 86, so nearly double. A lot tougher. A lot tougher to get the special illustration. And to get the specific, you're looking at 855. Whereas in Paradox, it was 712. We did manage to find the Roaring Moon, but again, a lot tougher in Temporal Forces. Illustration rares, 1 in 13. 1 in 13. This seems to be the trend of a lot of them. They are pretty solid. Consistent, really, with the illustration rares. And then specific, you're looking at 285 for Temporal and 442 Paradox Rift. So I believe there's more illustration rares in Paradox Rift, so that's why it's a lot tougher there. Right, next I'm looking at full arts, 1 in 15. 1 in 15, okay, and then A-Spec, which is new, 1 in 20, and then we're looking at double rares here at 1 and 6. But it doesn't really talk about the double rares from Temporal Forces, but it has about a 20% hit rate, whereas Paradox Rift has a 17% hit rate to get one of the top hits, not the double rares, but like ultra rare or better. So that's quite interesting. Same with here. So I would say Temporal Forces is tougher to get these top end cards, as we've seen. It is a lot more difficult than Paradox Rift. Moving on to Paldea Evolved. Now, Paldea Evolved again was another set where a lot of people talked about, like, look, tough. It was a tough set, especially trying to get the Iono and things like that. Let's take a look, right? So we're looking at Hyper Rare, which is the golds, 1 in 57. We take a look back at Temporal. We know it's 139, so very, very tough. Then we look at Special Illustration, 1 in 32, compared to the 1 in 86. This is again silly, you know, silly difficulties here. Illustration rare 1 in 13. We've seen the others 1 in 13. That seems to be the most consistent thing. Same with the ultra rares, and then the double rares is 1 in 7. Of course, it doesn't talk about the double rares in Temporal Forces. So Temporal Forces is tougher than Paldea Evolved by a hell of a lot more. You know, and to get the Iono is 1 in 480 packs. That's to get that specific cards, which, you know, is quite high. But when we're talking about 1 in 855, Temporal Forces is just, it kind of goes to show how difficult it is. Obsidian Flames now. Now, Obsidian Flames, smaller set, a little bit easier to get the, you know, top end pulls on it. So we're looking at double rare, 1 in 7. So let's look at the hyper rares first, actually. Let's look at hyper rares. 1 in 52, we've already seen. Temporal Forces is 1 in 339. Then we look at special illustration, 1 in 32 compared to the 1 in 86 in Temporal. And then we look at the illustration, exactly the same. Ultra rare, exactly the same. So very consistent on the lower end. It's the top end. It's the hyper rares and the special illustration, which is really, really tough. 1 in 216 packs to get this Charizard. Okay, to get the biggest card in the set. 1 in 855. It's nearly, well, basically 4 times harder to pull one of the best cards in the set from Temporal Forces. So difficult. It is just crazy. It is just crazy. And then finally, we're going to be looking at 151. Now, everyone talked about 151 being very difficult to get the cards, and it is. It's got tough pull rates, to be fair. It has. It is quite savage. Even though it's a set that's great to open, it's quite brutal. So, hyper rare. Yes, any 1 in 51. Specific 1 in 54. Again, a lot tougher in Temporal Forces. Now we're looking at special illustration rares. Get any of them, 1 in 32. 1 in 86 in Temporal Forces. Yeah, specific one, 225 compared to 855, right? Illustrations pretty much geared off the same as ultra rares and the double rares. This is crazy. It has a hit rate of 19% to get, you know, something good, better than a double rare. That is quite consistent. So it seems to be about 20% for a lot of these sets, but it's the special illustration and it's the gold cards that really, really have been pushing things just over the limit, to be fair. This is a ridiculously tough set. Let's take a look at one more set, but this time from the Sword and Shield era. Okay, we're going to look at Lost Origin. Now, we know Lost Origin is really difficult when it comes to the Giratina. Okay, we know that's the case. It is a ridiculously tough card to pull. We've never pulled it. In fact, we've never pulled the Aerodactyl. Let's take a look. So, to get a gold card is 1 in 114 in this set. We've seen the Hyper Rares and Temporal Forces. Temporal Forces is tougher. We look at the Giratina, 1 in 720 packs. That's a high number. Not quite as high as it is in Temporal Forces with 1 in 855 for a specific special illustration rare. It is absolutely crazy. I mean, fair enough, the Glaring Berserker is like 1 in 1080 and the Rainbow here is 1 in 2134. But nonetheless, this is absolutely crazy. Of course, the hit rates are a lot better, but we got to take a look at this. Temporal Forces is really, really tough, right? So this set, I think, will probably be a strong performer because not only are the pull rates really, really tough, but the set is also, there's less of it. You know, there's less printed than any other set. Less people can get allocations for this. There's just less of it out there. Availability of this set out there. Still a lot of it around, but just less than previous Scarlet and Violet era sets. That's going to help drive the prices up, which it already has been doing. But I will be covering that in a future video. We'll be going through all the prices of these Temporal Forces cards about 2 weeks after the set gets released, because I don't want to talk about it too early because it's a bit too early at the moment, and with pre-order prices and release prices, the prices can be all over the show. But let's put it this way, a lot of them have gone up quite significantly, so stay tuned for that one. But yes, Temporal Forces is a force to be reckoned with and is the toughest set that we've seen so far in Scarlet and Violet. That is the pull rates of Temporal Forces. Super tough. I've experienced it firsthand. I've seen other people struggling with it as well. I want to know your thoughts down in the comments, guys. Have you been struggling to get the pulls you want from Temporal Forces? Are you seeing also that these pull rates are really tough? And what are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? I actually think it's a good thing, to be fair. It makes it more desirable to try and hunt for the specific cards you want and the top end cards. When the chase is on, people tend to love the sets. Right, we take a look at Evolving Skies, you take a look at Lost Origin. These cards, the Giratina and the Umbreon, are what people want to chase for. Chill and Rain for the Blaziken, Fusion Strike for the Gengar. Incredibly tough to pull. Those are sets people like. If they're really easy to pull, people don't really care that much. People are like, yeah, sure, whatever. You know, and those sets don't tend to do very well. This has a perfect storm going for it. Tough pull rates, less of it around. Really interesting to see how sealed product goes in the future, but also with the single card prices, because already they have been rising quite a bit, which we'll get to in a future video. But if you made this far into the video, guys, and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe for more Pokemon content. But if you want to know what the pre-order prices are for the Temporal Forces cards, then make sure to click the video on screen right now. And if you want more Pokemon content, guys, you know what to do. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Right, guys, that's it from me in this video. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.